Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when
all right, as always, Dolphins number one, baby!
So fins up to all you guys. Thank you for doing
I just want everybody to remember, we may not always agree on everything Miami Dolphins, but there's one thing we do agree on, is we are all Dolphin fans. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk Fins Talk. I'm your host, Steve Malloy, and joining me tonight is Dolphin Thirsty Rob Mosley. How you doing, Rob?
Hey, can't complain. Our Dolphins are doing well at 8-3. Of course, we were 8-3 last year, and we know what happened. But once again, as Dolphin fans, we're saying we got that different feeling. It feels different this year. 8-3. We're heading into the dreaded December, where the Dolphins have not fared well over the past couple of years. Let's see how we do this December. But doing great. Dolphins Thirsty is getting close to 500 here on YouTube. So if you happen to find me and you haven't heard of Dolphin Thirsty over on YouTube, I'm in the 490 range now. I'm trying to get to that magical 500 number. DolphinThirsty.com, all things Dolphins. So thank you, Steve. And how are you doing over there in Houston?
A little chilly. As you can see, I'm wearing my Dolphins hoodie, so it's a little chilly here. Going into the 40s tonight. So yeah, but other than that, I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm pretty good, and I want to welcome everybody that's in the chat tonight. I see Aladino is in there. Appreciate you, brother. We'll get to that question. That's a good question. And appreciate everybody that's in there in the chat tonight. If you want to hit that like button, I'd appreciate that. It's free. Hit the like button, share with your friends, your families, your neighbors. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. We're here every Tuesday night at 6:30 Central Time, PM, that is. And, of course, 7:30 Eastern Time if you're on the East Coast. So, yeah, everything's doing good. And, Rob, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody remembers, okay, when we're talking tonight, that we may not always agree on everything Miami Dolphins, but there's one thing we can agree on. We are all Dolphins.
That we can.
And we have a new sponsor for the show. We have Caneswear. You can see at the bottom and on the top here, Caneswear. To get all of your Miami Dolphins gear, Miami Hurricanes gear, soccer if you're into soccer, and they're located, as you can see the address there, at 2655 South University Drive. That's in Davie, Florida. And if you are out of the South Florida area, you can order online at caneswear.com. Caneswear.com. All right, let's get this show on the road. So, Rob, I wanted to talk a little bit tonight. First thing I want to talk about, and I know we'll be beating a dead horse because we played Friday, Black Friday, and won. We beat the New York Jets in their house. What was it? 31-13. So we're 8-3. We're sitting on the top of the division. We are seated at this point in time. We're seated fourth as far as the playoff pictures go and home field advantage and all that stuff. So we're fourth seed right now. But I did want to
34-13.
Oh yeah, 34-13. My bad. But I do want to.
I just know someone's going to correct us. So I wanted a little break.
and hey, and
well, I mess it up all the time, but
yeah, for sure. I do too.
But I actually predicted the 13 for the Jets, but I got the Dolphin score wrong.
Yeah,
I said the Jets would have 13. So
did I? I think I predicted 13 too. I thought I said 24-13 or 27-13. I was close. I think it was 27-13 is what I said. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit about that game. Look, the Jets have a very good defense. Offense, it's I don't know what happened to their offense this year. Even if they would have had Aaron Rodgers, I still think their offense maybe they would have been a little better.
Yes,
But
my feel. I was going to touch on that too.
yeah,
So
go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was going to say that him and with Aaron Rodgers, they may have been maybe have won another game or something, but I don't think they're winning anything. Even with Aaron Rodgers behind that offensive line, it's not like
Hmm.
the Aaron Rodgers of a few years ago where he's young and scrambling all around. The human
Hmm.
body catches up to you at some point. He would
Hmm.
eventually been nailed anyway. So I'm with you on that take. Would they have been better? Probably a little bit better, but would they have been up here in the top seeding for the AFC? I don't think so.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. And let me answer this question since Aladino, yeah, there it is. Oh, no, that's not it. That's Hookup Joe. How you doing, Hookup Joe? Appreciate you joining us tonight, brother. There it is. What do we think about what do you think about the JPP depth? I'll give you my opinion, and then I'll have Rob give his. My opinion is he's an old guy. He's has five sacks since 2022. 2021. He's got five. He's only has five sacks. He's been, he's an older guy. When he was with the Giants, when I first started watching him, he was good. He was good player at that time.
Yeah,
Now,
he had a decent year in 2020, I think was the last year he
yeah,
really had the
right.
COVID year. He had a really good year.
Yeah, in 2020, right. And
Right.
I think he's just a depth piece. He might get a few snaps in here and there. But good rotational guy, good depth piece. That's what I think. How about you, Rob?
Yeah, same. Because like I say, this year he's only appeared in one game. He was on the practice squad. So obviously, if he was still at the level he used to be, the Saints would have had him on the active roster, or some team would have plucked him long time ago, not wait until all the way. So it's definitely a rotational piece. Comes in on the active roster since we took him from the practice squad. He has to be on our active roster. So he can help. They obviously wanted Derek Barnett, but Derek
Hmm.
Barnett, they didn't get the waiver claim because the Dolphins had the better record than the Houston Texans, and they are the other team that put a claim in. So, due to them having a higher waiver claim, they got Derek Barnett. And then at time, we went and got JPP. So, it makes sense on that standpoint. Overall, hopefully Van Ginkel and Ogba are the guys that step up and perform. And he's more or less, in case something happens to them, they have a body out there that can at least go play the position. So that's what I look at it. It's really a low risk proposition. They're going to have the roster spot that you had for
Hmm.
having to put JP on the IR, open up a roster spot, bring in JPP, and boom, it fills that spot at the same position. And maybe it was our second choice, it seemed like, that we did put in the claim for Derek Barnett. But hey, we got a guy that can come out and play the position.
Yeah, I agree. I think AVG is going to be just fine in that position. Before Jalen Phillips came back, he filled in just fine for him when he had the oblique injury, or was it the back injury, or one of those injuries. There's so many injuries this year, I can't keep track of them. But anyway, when Jalen Phillips was out, he did fill in and did an adequate job. He did really well. So I think we're okay. As far as the defense goes, uh, in fact, let me talk about the defense since we're on that subject. Um, yeah, I think our defense is just going to be fine up front. And in fact, I have some stats here since we are talking about the defense. Let's see if I can find it real
Okay,
quick.
while you're looking that up real quick, Eric Rivera and Hooked Up Joe, thank you so much for coming in. And Hooked Up Joe says JPP is great in spurts and has a nice rotation piece. Put him
Hmm.
in fresh as needed.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Hook up, Joe. So our defense since weeks 5 through 12. Now remember, Jalen Ramsey. Too many Jalen's on our team too.
Yeah, exactly.
Jalen Ramsey. He. I think he came in around. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rob. Was it the 7th or 8th week that he came in?
About the seventh, or yeah, it was like I think what the No, it wasn't the
The New
Panthers.
England game,
It
right?
was the Patriots game. It was the
Yeah,
Patriots game at home. I was at that game, so yeah, it was
right,
the Patriots game at home in our
right.
throwback uniforms. He wanted to make sure we had our throwback uniform on, when he came back to have
Yeah,
that classic look.
yeah. I
And
like those.
yeah, oh, me
I
too.
like those
That's a whole
uniforms.
other show for a whole other debate. I think Dolphin fans to dispute on uniforms. But I
Yep,
think that's the one that almost everyone's in agreement. The older ones are better than the newer ones.
for
But
sure.
yeah, it was a New England game.
Yeah. So anyway, actually we're going to start with the first four games, the first 4 weeks, weeks 1 through 4. Our defensive ranking, total defense was 26th, 26th, and and I'll and they were like at the bottom of the totem pole for most of these categories, other than yards per rush. They were ranked 19th. That was that was their best category. Everything else was at the bottom of the barrel. But since that time, and even before Ramsey came back, they've been on a trend. They've been trending up. Um, right now, their total defense, they're ranked number one for weeks 5 through 12. Uh, everything they're ranked one. Yards per carry, they're ranked one. Offensive points allowed, they're ranked one. Uh, rushing defense, they're two. Third down defense, they're two. First downs allowed, two. Net yards per pass attempt, they're third. Yards per rush, they're fourth. And pass defense, they're seventh. And they were 25th at one time. So in all categories, they've just made a tremendous, tremendous jump. And I don't credit that to all Jalen Ramsey, although he does make a difference. I credit that to Vic Fangio, adjusting and the players stepping up. Number one.
No, I
So,
agree with you on that take.
yeah, so they're definitely doing great. So I'm not concerned too much with the defense at this point. Um, we'll see. It's December, so they've got to continue to play the way they've been playing.
Hey, Duke, welcome to the room. And yes, Steve, and hooked up Joe, more or less what you said. He said we were already progressing great before Ramsey came in. He just
Right.
jumped us to the top tier.
Yep.
It's a great, and Aladino's like you, amazing what coaching can do.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yes. And so, yeah, hopefully we continue to progress that way. The
Mm-hmm.
Commanders are next on the docket up in Landover, Maryland at FedEx Field. Got to take care of business this week. They fired their defensive coordinator recently. So obviously their defense isn't that great. Time for our offense to get back on track. Combine. Maybe this will be a game that we finally play some complementary football, have a good defensive effort and an offensive effort all rolled into one beautiful package. Yes, we obviously won a game by 50 points this year against a team with a winning record. In my mind, I point out. But, so we won a game by 50, so that skews some of the numbers on the offensive side of the ball, obviously. And you could say that was a complete game, but I just want to go out there, have a dominant defensive performance, a great offensive performance, because the Commanders can put up points on the board. This quarterback either can be great. He's a streaky quarterback. He can get really hot, run
Mm-hmm.
around, but he can also throw a lot of interceptions. So hopefully we get the interception version of how this coming week and we can take care of business up in Landover, Maryland. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of the Washington Commanders offense, they are ranked 14th. They're ranked 14th in the league. They're
almost right in
passing.
the middle
Yeah,
of the
they
pack.
got a very good passing attack. They're ranked ninth, and the rushing is at the bottom of the barrel. They're 25 in a rushing attack. So I think I think as far as their passing attack goes, it really all depends on, as you said, if Sam Howell is hot or if he's playing one of his bad games. But
Yeah.
let me, speaking of Sam Howell, since we're talking about that, I have something here as well I'd like to share with you. As far as Sam Howell, Actually, right now, he's leading in yards. He's at the top of leading quarterbacks as far as yards go. He has 3,339 yards. CJ Stroud is second. Josh Allen is third. And Tua Tagovailoa is fourth right now with 3,177 yards. And also,
I know he has 18 touchdowns against 13 interceptions. So
yes.
hopefully he has more of those interceptions coming up real soon.
Yes. So that's what I was going to share with you. He has 18 touchdowns and, like you said, the 13 interceptions. And he has a 66% passer percentage. And his passer rating is around up there in the high 80s. So he's playing good. That's good. And if you have a passer rating in the 80s, that's a good football player.
Yeah, he's like 87.3,
Yeah,
something like that.
87.3, exactly.
I looked it up earlier.
Yeah, so did I. And so he's a good quarterback. So
yes, he can run the football too, I guess he's saying, because he has 22 touchdowns overall, I guess, with rushing and passing.
Right. 4 touchdowns passing, 4 touchdowns rushing, and 18 passing. Correct. So, yeah, he's very mobile. And what does our Miami Dolphins defense have trouble with? Mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So,
hey, thank you, Mr. Art. Oh my God, I can't. They're all one word, but Mr. Art Millen 1111. If I screwed up your name, I'm big fins up to you for coming in here. But yeah, and then I don't know if the OC over there in DC, the OC in Washington really thinks Hal is Mahomes passing a lot. Hey, I guess so. That's what he's used to. So we cannot no, we definitely can't fall asleep on the Commanders. That's one of my teams I'm a little worried about. Well, I'm worried every week because I'm always that guy. In December is here. I have too many flashbacks of us just having December gloom instead of blooming. We're always just dooming it out and just not playing well. Let's make this a good December to remember for the rest of the year. Hey, back it up, Ben's podcast. Ben's up.
Yeah, appreciate you for joining the back it up bench podcast. Yeah, so and also I want to talk a little bit too. Let's switch gears a little bit, Rob. Let's talk a little bit about our offense. I want to talk a little bit about Tua Tagovailoa and then also Armstead. I saw a tweet where Omar Kelly had made a comment about Armstead. He had a sloppy game. Didn't look like he was, up to par playing his.
As himself. He responded to him.
Right. He responded back. Armstead, that is, responded back and said, "Yeah, he did have a sloppy game, and he will be better." But what caught my attention was he said next week.
Right. So no, this week, right?
This week. Yeah, this week. So that's telling me possibly he's going to be playing this week. So
yeah, we'll see. We will see. But McDaniel in his own press conference says he will have to talk to him because he said he knows that Armstead's going to say he wants to play, and that sometimes you have to do what's in the best interest for the player, despite the player. So he did mention that too. So we will see because Robert Hunt really wanted to play last week against the Jets. They put him in uniform, but they did not put him in the lineup. So they kept him healthy for another week. So he should be back for sure this week. And then we will see on that front. But yeah, Armstead said, I'm going to clean it up this week. So that was kind of his hint. But it's coming right off the heels of the coach. So it's funny how you can say all of that. We don't really know what's going to happen because he wants to play because
absolutely,
it's injury prone, whatever term you want to use for him. He plays through injuries all the time. So he's going to want to be out there and play, especially with that he didn't have a great game against the Jets before he went out with injury. So he wants to get back out there, prove he's still the big tackle on this team and get us to some December victories.
No, absolutely, 100%. We're going to need him. I know folks are telling me, oh, well, we're doing fine without him and everything. Okay, how about that Philadelphia game? How about the Kansas City game? How about the Buffalo game? Right? He got hurt when he went out in that Buffalo game. And our offense playing against those playoff caliber teams, They don't perform as well. So we will miss him if he's not able to play in December. Trust me, we will miss him.
Oh no,
So
for
I
sure we're gonna.
definitely want him to play. I mean, he's the when he's healthy and he's playing, he's one of, if not the best left tackle in the league right now.
Oh
So
no,
we need him. We need him.
he's definitely up there in the in the really good. What can I say? He's
Yeah,
really good, and he's definitely different. Lamb is a lot better than what we had last year when we would have
for
backups come
sure, for
in.
sure.
So at least we have that. It's not the end of the world without like it was with Arm, but still Armstead is an elite pass blocker still. And then you get Jackson on the other side playing the best he's ever do against a pass. So at least this is helping Tua stay upright. When Tua did get hit, I know that video made the rounds that he was able, his head didn't pound onto the ground. So that was good to see that some of that training, you can see him tucking his head as he's getting hit and going down to the floor. So I know everyone kid about his martial arts training, but lo and behold, it actually helped him on that play. I don't know if you saw the video that made
I
the
did.
rounds on
Yeah, I
social
did.
media today. So that's a good thing. Little things like that. And, his neck is stronger and everything. So he stayed, his head didn't pound. Last year, his head probably would have pounded into the turf on that play. So that helped.
Yeah, you can
Yes, Lamb is
actually
playing. I agree, sir, that Lamb has been a blessing to have on our team. So,
absolutely, absolutely. But
yeah.
no, I agree with what you said, Rob. I don't know if it was the martial arts training because there's so much you can do one day a week. I mean, I've taken martial arts, I've done boxing, so there's not much you can really do in one day out of the week. But um, I do believe that he has gotten stronger. He worked out with the weights. He's gotten his neck stronger and all that kind of stuff. Whatever he's doing, so you could see that. You could definitely see that when that he just built differently this year. I know I kidded about it, and said he had maybe too many burgers or whatever. But no, I saw him up close and in person, and he's definitely built different this year than he was last year. He definitely had put on some muscle, and you can just see it just the way he walks. You can tell
Yeah.
he's
Oh,
he's
no, he's
walking with more
definitely, and then,
confidence
yeah,
and
and
yeah,
people
he
were
looks
making fun of
stronger.
him in the offseason. Oh, he was a dad's bod because he had more like muscle and stack and one of the so but it was funny. But yeah, like Cooked Up Joe said, it was not Tua's best game this week, but the Jets
Right.
are for real. They are.
They
They
are.
have a
They got a
really
good
good
defense.
secondary. So hey, at the end of the day, he did enough. Got to clean up those interceptions. So I know we keep on saying it every show. Can't be
I'm gonna
doing
get to
that at
that.
the end of December. That whole pick six, the one that he gave up, when we got one, a much more magical one a few plays later. But the pick six he gave up, the whole football world saw that coming. You could see the guy running up the minute he released the ball. It was a bad throw. You could blame McDaniel for calling plays at that point, but we know the one thing we've gotten used to in McDaniel in his one season plus is he's going to be a gambler. If there's seconds on the clock, McDaniel's going to try to get points. If it's a fourth and short, most likely he's going to get it. Try to go get it, and that's just how he rolls. He's like that old mentality. He's going to go for it. If there's like enough seconds to get into field goal range, he is going to do it. Sometimes it helps you and you get those points. Sometimes it bites you in the butt. And that's what happened twice at the end of the first half.
That's right.
Tua threw an interception. But the second one led to the pick that we haven't even talked about yet in that game. The Hail Mary, whatever you want to call it, and the reverse Hail Mary. And Javon Holland took it all the way to the house. And it was a lot of good fun on that play. So that was cute.
Yeah, but we can't expect that all the time. I mean, when we're playing against teams like the Dallas Cowboys and the Ravens and all, we can't do that kind of stuff.
Oh no, you can't, man. That's what
Because the quarterback that we were playing against, he don't even belong in the NFL. And the only reason why he was on the New York Jets is because he knows Aaron Rodgers from Green Bay. That's it.
yeah.
But
Nope.
anyway, I don't want to get too much in the weeds on that on the game last week. But what
I
I
know
do
we've
want to,
talked about it already. I know.
yeah. What I do want to talk about is Tua Tagovailoa and the turnovers. And someone mentioned it in the comments just now. Yes, we cannot have those turnovers. not only by Tua Tagovailoa, by Mostert has fumbled the ball up and's been lucky, and it hasn't been recovered a few times there. And Tua Tagovailoa throwing to folks in traffic and stuff. He got away with the one with Jalen Waddle. It was a nice pass. I can't say anything bad about that. Waddle caught that, but it was a very, very dangerous pass. But I will say this. He's got 10 fumbles. 10 fumbles. And he's got 10 interceptions. Now, the interception part, as I was getting to, he's thrown a lot of balls that haven't been caught as interceptions. Same as last year. He could have had 5, 6, 7 more interceptions last year if those balls were being caught. But could have, should have, would have. I got it. I get it. But it's a trend here. And this year, it caught up with him. He's thrown more interceptions at this point in time than he did last year. But he's also been throwing the ball more.
Yes.
He's been throwing the ball a lot more than he did last year. So maybe that has something to do with it as well, okay? You throw the ball more, what are the odds of you getting more interceptions, right? They go up. So am I concerned about Tua and the interceptions at this point? No, I'm not. I'm not too concerned about that at this point. Now, if it goes on and continues into this week's game against the Commanders and he throws another 1 or 2 picks, then I'm going to be a little concerned. Or if he fumbles, or if Mostert fumbles, then what that's telling me is they haven't made any corrections, because they haven't. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, they haven't made the corrections on the offense that they needed to, and they just haven't.
As far as the
turnovers go. Now, in the game against the Jets, they ran the ball.
No,
and
that's what I was going to say. I was about to come at you, Steve, saying that they haven't made any change.
They did really well, and that's what I want to see. That's what we need to see in the up and coming weeks. Now, against the Commanders, and I know Hookup Joe said it, we may stop their pass, right? But Miami's going to they got 2 options, right? They can either throw the ball because their pass defense is terrible, the Commanders, or they can set up the run with the passing, or they can set up the passing with the run. So what they're going to use, what the defense gives them, is how they're going to go. And basically, I would like to see them run the ball more. Now, I know, and you said it, Rob, and I've said it, and this offense is not designed to, pound the heck out of defenses, right?
Yeah.
But we've got some good running backs with a lot of speed, playing the wide zone, and if we're running on all cylinders, we can be a good running team.
Yeah, no,
we're missing A-Chain. We're missing A-Chain.
Yeah. And another quick guy I'm keeping my eye on, like you say, Raheem Mostert has fumbled, but the man's on pace to break Miami Dolphins touchdown records, overall touchdown records, and rushing touchdown records for a single season. So keep at it, keep going, because the overall touchdown record for the Miami Dolphins is Mark Clayton, which was all receptions back in 1984. Right. He had 18. I just like my fun little stats.
I like them too. I like
records like that. Stats mean nothing at the end of the day, but touchdowns I like, because touchdown leads to victories.
Absolutely. And that's what we've talked about last year. I said, I don't care about Tyreek making all the yards. How many touchdowns did he score? Right?
Yeah, no, I know.
This year he's on pace to make some good touchdowns along with Mostert.
No, hey, he is. And then, so the reception, record was 18, and that's overall. But the man is just on pace. I mean, he already has 15 touchdowns overall, 2 on the ground, and the others are at 13 rushing. So he's right there on the cusp of that. And then I was going to say, on the interceptions, I don't have the Football Reference in front of me, but going from memory, 1984, Dan Marino threw 48 touchdown passes, but he still threw, I think, 16 or 17 interceptions.
17 interceptions
that year.
Yeah.
So, that's a lot of interceptions too. So when you put up the ball a lot, but of course, Tua's not going to get anywhere near the 48 touchdowns. I wish he would.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, if he gets near 48 at this point, things are going well. because we're scoring at a bunch and our defense would hopefully still be playing the same way. So we're talking about really a powerhouse team. But yeah, I think he threw 48 touchdowns, 17 interceptions in that year. I'm impressed you know that number too, Steve. I guess you're a little stat guy like me from Marino too. So
Oh, back in the day, yeah, back in the day. But getting back to Tua, yeah,
yeah,
he needs to eliminate. Even though I'm not concerned with the interceptions right now. Now going forward, if he continues to do that, one or two, then I'm going to start getting concerned, especially in December, because now we're repeating history like last year.
well,
So we
someone
don't.
had a Duke. Sorry, Duke. Somehow
Mhm.
you're got lost in the shuffle here. Duke asked, "Are the interceptions coming from carelessness or throwing to spots, or a combination of both, maybe?" So,
Yeah, I would say the combination of the both. Um, if you watch the play, and I don't remember what game this was. Oh yeah, it was. I think it was the touchdown to Ahmed. I don't know if you all remember the touchdown to Ahmed, but if you watch the all 22, right? If you watch that all 22 and you watch the pass, then now the play design was excellent, right?
yeah,
The play design was excellent, but Ahmed, if you watch it very carefully and you stop it, slow it, stop it, and watch it over and over again a few times, and just keep stopping it, watching it, stopping it, and watching when Tua goes back to throw the ball and everything. He threw the ball before Ahmed even knew the ball was coming. So he was going to throw it to that spot regardless.
yeah. No,
Luckily enough, the linebacker,
Ahmed
whomever
got
was covering him, right, he got by him and caught the pass.
right.
So,
But it was a
yes,
beautifully designed play, and it was a
beautiful
nice
design
throw.
play. And it
So
was a
it
nice
was.
throw to the spot.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There's
Hey,
nothing
Moya.
wrong with that because these guys, I went to the joint practices here in Houston, and when they were practicing, that's exactly what they were doing over and over again, throwing to the spot, receivers, boom, went to the spot they were supposed to go to. Beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that if it works. But when
Yeah.
it doesn't work, then you get the interceptions.
Yeah.
But Tua has been operating at an at sometimes at an elite level this year, in this offense, and he's beautiful. He's beautiful at throwing those passes. He has such a great chemistry with his receivers that it looks like when the receivers catch it, like he's just throwing it to the receiver. No, he's throwing that ball before it even gets to those receivers. So that's the reason why you see interception like they said. Why did he throw that ball? Because
I
he's
know.
throwing to a spot. But there's
Well,
nothing
I know
wrong with
because,
that.
and sometimes the receivers are on the wrong spot, and that happens
Sometimes they're in the wrong
because.
spot, and that happens, right?
And a perfect example is our division rival this week in overtime. Josh Allen had his guy open, but he thought he's going this way. The receiver goes out, and that's the difference of winning in overtime with the touchdown or end up losing in overtime. So I mean, that's how different little things. Everyone has to be on the same page when it comes down to the crunch time. And I know a lot of Dolphins. This is real quick. People will probably hate me in here, but the Bills actually looked good the other night. I was impressed with how they played against the Eagles. I'm happy they came out on the short side, but they took the Eagles toe to toe. So I hope the Bills aren't starting to wake up because they looked a lot better the last 2 weeks. They're off this week, and then they're at Kansas City. If they lose the Kansas City game, they may just be a mentally beaten football team at that point because they would know that they're really struggling. But they I hate to say it, but they look kind of good the past couple of weeks. Imminent a
No,
loss. The
they
good
have
thing
no,
is they
no.
lost.
You're only spitting facts. They are
Yeah,
looking good,
yeah,
But I want to talk about McDaniel too. Mike McDaniel has been, well, especially this last game against the Jets. He made adjustments. He took what the defense was giving him. I know a lot of folks, and even myself, wow, he's playing kind of conservative this week, right? And he did. Because if you notice, he was running the ball. They ran the ball over 35 times,
yes,
34,
they did.
35 times.
Yeah, a lot.
And yeah, so he was playing rather conservative compared to past games and things like that. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to see him doing it, and the short passes. Now they have to work on the short pass game
No, they're bad
because
on 3rd and 1s and 4th and 1s,
bad
and
on
they
third
always
and
want to
ones and
pass.
fourth
They
and ones.
actually ran on a short, and we got the first down. So
Exactly. So I believe this game, I hope it was a wake up call to McDaniel, and I hope this is what we're going to see from now on. Look, I love to see the big passes, Tua throwing the big passes to wide open, Tyreek Hill or Jalen Watt or whoever it might be. I love those. I love those
right.
big plays, right? Or the big runs. But again, we're going into December. We're playing against some tough teams up and coming, even this Washington Commanders team. And I hope, I hope that McDaniel continues with the run game, getting that run game, working on all cylinders, and the short passes,
Yeah.
and taking what the defense gives you
No,
instead of
well
trying
said.
taking the big chances and you know getting an interception or
You need a
fumble or something like
combination of
that.
all that. You need the dink and the dunk in the passing game, and you
Yep,
need the deep pass. You need to keep them guessing. Those are what the great offenses do. And then,
absolutely.
real quick, Bobby and Duke both say fins up, which reminds you guys, hit those thumbs up here in the like
Hands
section.
up,
They're
Bobby.
nice. It's nice and free. Make sure you tackle those like and subscribe buttons if you're new here. So it's always good to have.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
So
I'm
no, I'm
that
with you, Steve. He needs to clean up the interceptions. Overall,
yeah,
he's having a very
yeah.
good year.
Oh
If you
yeah,
look around the
absolutely.
league, interceptions to be trending up among a lot of the quarterbacks. And I don't know if it's just the new advent that everyone's chucking the ball around more than they used to, but a lot of the good quarterbacks. Of course, you and I, we only care about the one quarterback, the one that happens to be wearing number one for the Miami Dolphins.
Absolutely.
But if you do take a quick glance at some of even the Josh Allens and the Mahomes and the Hurts, a
Yep.
lot of these guys have higher interceptions than they when you chuck the ball around, you have to do it. You got to avoid it at the stupid times and know when to be safe and then when you have to take the chance. If you're going at the end of the game because you have to win and you get picked off, that's going to happen because you're in it. But when you're got a nice lead and they just don't throw silly out passes on the sideline, and just go for it. But like I talked the show with Mike McDaniel, if there's a few seconds left on the clock, at the end of the half, he's going to go. So, and a couple times it's come and bite us at the end. It bit us against the Raiders, giving a cheap turnover at the end of the first half, and it bit us against the Jets at the end of the first half. But Javon Holland made up for the one in the Jets. But you're not always going to have a 99-yard interception return on a Hail Mary. That's not your ingredient to win. So,
I that's the
that's it.
first time I ever seen that in my life watching football.
Yeah,
I've never seen that
I know
before.
that's crazy, man.
So yeah,
That's
it
crazy.
was crazy. It was
Some
crazy.
Jet fans are already saying that's going to rank up there with the butt fumble in their book.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
it. And I liked how the announcers, like Kirk Herbstreit, was like, "This is if it ever was a play was typical of the New York Jets season in one play, this is it."
Yep.
Basically summarizing what he said.
Yep.
So it definitely was bad, but hey, great for us. Great for us.
Yeah,
Hey, and like
absolutely.
Pack It Up
Absolutely.
In podcast, if you're still in here, he had an episode talking about how that cost TCL TV company $1 million.
Oh,
So
wow. Right. Right.
because
Yeah.
they gave away 84 98-inch TVs. I don't even know what I would do with a 98-inch TV, but I would have fun trying to find out what I'm going to do with a 98-inch TV. So I may never leave the home again. So then my wife
There
would, come
you
on, we
go.
gotta go. I'm like,
There you
no,
go.
I'm mesmerized at looking at this 98-inch TV. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Oh
sure. For
man.
sure.
So
So to
hey,
sum it up, Rob, what I want to see, and I'll get what you want to see as well, but what I want to see is I want to see I don't want to see Tua turning over the ball, whether it's fumble, interception. I want to see improvement on Mostert, holding on to the ball. Um, I want to see Mike McDaniel calling plays and running the ball more, um, more short passes. And if it's conservative, so what? As long as we win, that's what
I
counts.
just want the dub. I don't care about. And I know I talked
Exactly.
about Mojert's touchdown records because to me, touchdowns help you win games. But I don't care about yards. I don't care about Tyreek getting 2,000. Just stay healthy, get into the playoffs, and let's go, Tyreek. I don't care so much about your 2,000 yards. I want the team to get victories. When you haven't won a playoff game for 2+ decades at this point, I don't care what numbers you put up unless they're W's in the win column each week. Win the freaking AFC East and stay up there in the number one in the AFC East, then at least you get one home game and we can finally. And I'm convinced if you win that one, that builds confidence and you may go on and win another game and another game. Because I don't think it's likely since we let that Kansas City game slip out of our grasp over in Germany that we're going to be the number one seed. We had it right there at the cusp. If we win that game, we're really in control. But it's c'est la vie, it didn't happen. But with that said, we can still move up the rankings a little bit. Jacksonville's not all of that. They're okay, but they're not like where I'm scared of them. Even the Ravens, we have a chance this year, Steve. Now, I'm not saying we have our flaws, but every team I mentioned, even Kansas City this year is not as epic as they have been in the past. They still got a great record, but they're still beatable. The Ravens' defense is great, but their offense isn't going to scare us that much other than Lamar running around all over the field, which you can almost guarantee he's going to have one long run against us. That's just
I don't know. Mitchell's pretty good though. That running back they have.
Oh no, they have some good
speedy running back.
They got good receivers too.
Yeah.
So
Likely is taking over for the tight end. Likely is taking over for Andrews, and he's actually I think Likely is a lot more athletic, and he's definitely a lot faster than Andrews is.
Yeah. Oh no, and then want to see Tua play consistent and McDaniels cut down on the motion stuff and make it simple. Definitely cut down the motions on the road. At home, you can get away with more of it because you hear all the cadences and you do all that, and there's less confusion. But I agree with a whole bunch of what people are saying in here.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of the defenses, if you watch the good defenses, they don't fall for a lot of that motion. A lot of that is just smoke and screens. And in fact, there was something I was reading last week about Tyreek and the referees. The referees were talking to Tyreek, I believe it was. I might be
telling that was on the Hard Knocks.
Right. So they're watching him. Because he was cheating a little bit. He was running and kept on running. And now you got to have at least 1 second. You've got to stop for 1 second. After you go in motion, you stop for the 1 second, then go.
Right. No, you do. Right.
Yeah. So
sometimes he gets away with it, but he's so fast, they probably don't even know. They're like, oh, I don't know what
he's so fast. It's like, did he just go? It's hard to tell, right? But no, I agree. You're right, Rob. But anyway, I agree with that last comment about the motions and all that.
I guarantee you that came from another coach telling the referees, "Hey, look for
I'm sure.
Look for Tyreek. He's cutting up the field too soon." So he probably tells him at least before, gives him the courtesy, "Hey, we're going to be looking for you cutting up the field today." So I thought sometimes like, "Oh, I'm surprised they didn't call it," because sometimes it's close. But hey, it's working so far, and we haven't really gotten nailed for it too much. So.
Mm-hmm. But anyway,
I know sometimes that's always been an issue with us for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Over a couple of coaching, we always get the plays. Like sometimes we're down to that final. You're like, "Hey, guy!" You're screaming at the TV, or if you're at the stadium, you're yelling out loud with half the fans around you, like, "Snap the ball!" because the clock's ticking down, and it's annoying.
Yeah, they've got to watch that too. They've caught him a few times this year. Where their clock was running down. You're right. That's carrying over from last year. Those are the little things that they haven't worked. I don't understand that.
We've gotten better from last year, but we still
a little bit.
We haven't burned as many timeouts at the second half as we did last year. Yeah. Because last year in the Buffalo playoff game, we burned so many timeouts, we didn't have anything left, and it was just we could have won that game, but that's a whole other story. But at the end of the day, Steve, I see what time it is here already. Mm-hmm. And guys, don't forget to watch tonight, Hard Knocks. The second episode airs tonight. So it should be fun. They'll probably cover the JP injury, which won't be, so much fun. And but other than that, man, it should be a good episode because our Dolphins are still up there in first place, Steve.
Yeah.
And let's see. I want to touch up on some comments before we roll out.
Absolutely.
You think X will be a Dolphin next year or Cam Smith? Might be Cam Smith time due to financials because you can't. It's still a hit, but it's not as bad as a hit with X if you move on him after June 1st. I was reading, so maybe if that's one because they're going to have to trim fat somewhere, and not saying he's fat because he's a good player to have on the team, but you got to trim salary cap somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think Ogbah's going to be gone because they can walk away with him with almost
Maybe
no
Jerome
hit.
Baker.
Yeah, there's a couple guys they can free up a lot of money by moving on from.
Yeah,
so
for
we will
sure.
see.
For sure.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already. If you're new to the channel, I saw a couple new folks in there. Please subscribe. It's free. And share with your friends, your families, and your neighbor. And yeah, Rob, those are my thoughts. I think Miami just has to limit them turnovers. Try to do some more dinking and dunking. Take what the defense gives you. Try to get that run game going. Maybe even play a little more conservative. I wouldn't be unhappy about that.
Yeah.
And I think you agree with me on that, Rob.
Yeah, because the
So
weather's it might rain on Sunday from
there you
what they're
go.
saying.
So
You
yeah,
know,
for sure.
we may get to see how Tua does in the rain and all of that good stuff. So,
Right.
Hey, overall, it's a good time to be a Dolphin fan.
Absolutely.
Let's
Absolutely. I
see if we're
agree.
saying it. I hope we're still saying that because we're seeing it here at the end of November. Hopefully, at the end of December, we're still saying it's a great time to be a Miami Dolphin
That
fan.
is going to be the true test. That
Yep,
is going to be the
that's it.
true
So
test.
that's what we're going to be
So,
seeing if
yep.
we're still saying it. Always happy to be a Dolphin fan, but are we ecstatic and hopeful, or is it another season of saying, well, maybe next year, Steve? So, it's coming down to a conclusion. We're
Yep.
going to see.
Yep.
Right now, and I'm as much as I am, and so many bad things that I've seen with our Dolphins, I still have a little hope in me for this year. So I'm getting
Absolutely.
hopeful. And
Absolutely.
normally that comes back to burn me. Later, Duke, Eric, hooked up Joe, all you guys, Moya, all you guys that came into the
And don't
show. Eric,
forget, we have that pregame show on Sunday at 10 a.m. on the Dolphins Thirsty YouTube network. Make sure you
that we
catch
do.
that, and we'll give you our predictions for this game, the Washington Commanders against the Miami Dolphins this week. So don't forget to catch that. Again, Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Rob,
Dolphins
thanks for
Thursday.
joining me
Thank you.
tonight, brother. I appreciate you.
Welcome.
Again, thanks everybody for joining us, and don't forget about Canes Wear. If you're not in the locally in the Florida area, you can go to caneswear.com and you can get all your gear, Canes Wear, Dolphins gear, all your soccer gear, anything, Miami Dolphins, Miami
All the
Hurricanes
Miami
related.
sports teams.
All
You
this,
got
there
it,
you
man.
go, all the Miami sports team. So thanks again for joining us tonight, Rob, and everybody else in the chat. And what do we do, Rob?
Okay, we can keep the ad up because I'm already getting on the close up video, so
That's fine.
you guys don't have to see our mugs anymore.
That's it. You got it. But just
All right,
remember, guys, don't forget,
Dolphins number one,
Dolphins number
baby.
one, baby.
Dolphins
Dolphins
number
number
one. Fins up.
one.